I recently sailed on the Norwegian Star, and today's video I'm going to show you some things that you really need to know about that ship before you board. For instance, how to make dining room reservations, what's the dress code in the dining room. We're going to talk about drinking the water on the ship. We're also going to look at the laundry services on board, where the smoking areas are. And finally, I'm going to talk about the cabins I would choose and which ones I would avoid. Hang on, it's a lot. First, let's talk about some just general information for getting around the ship. The Star has 3 sets of elevator banks, aft, midship, and forward. The midship elevators are the only ones that go all the way from deck 4 to deck 14. The forward elevators go from 4 to 13. The aft elevators only go from 6 to 13. When you come down the stairs and you're trying to figure out which side is port and which is starboard and you're all turned around on this ship, the port cabin doors are all this salmon color and the starboard doors are all royal blue. Didn't realize that till a friend of mine noticed it. Thank you, Gail. And when you're in the hallway, look around. The fish swim upstream, so if you're going to the forward part of the ship, follow the fish, except for the occasional red fish that's a rebel. The dining. On embarkation day and every subsequent day, you will get a Freestyle Daily. That's Norwegian's daily newsletter, and on it you can find the opening times for all of the restaurants. Now on Norwegian, they have freestyle dining, so you don't have to make any restaurant reservations to go to the main dining rooms. This ship has the Versailles and the Aqua. They're open at different times. On ours, Versailles was open at 5 until 9. Aqua was 5:30 to 9:30. If you get there early, you have plenty of seating. If you get there later in the day and they are too busy, they'll give you a pager and you can come back when they do have a table available for you. Freestyle dining is wonderful in that you don't have to have the same time every day for your dining. However, the disadvantage is you don't have a set of waiters that are used to your preferences. And it's nice whenever they know that you're going to order tea with every meal that they already bring it. But it's also nice not to have to worry about coming to the dining room at a specific time of the day. So there are pros and cons either way. Also about the dining, let's talk about the dress code. They had this sign posted at the restaurants. Attire with offensive language and images is not permitted. In the daytime, they do require cover-ups, shirts, and footwear. And in the evening main dining rooms and specialty restaurants, they prohibit tank tops, hoodies, robes, short shorts, jeans with holes or tears, caps, and hats. La Bistro and Ocean Blue do not permit t-shirts or shorts of any kind. On this ship, that would be La Bistro. Ocean Blue is on other ships. If you chose specialty dining as one of your free at sea perks, you will get 1 or more specialty dining reservations during your sailing. It is great to do those reservations in advance. I highly recommend doing that because if you want a specific day or you like to eat at a specific time, those reservations, of course, will go first. According to the website, they say that you can make your reservations depending on the level of cabin you booked. Guests in the suites and haven get first choice. Then 5 days later, those staying in club balconies get the next opportunity to make reservations, followed by all other staterooms. You can make reservations on embarkation day, and in fact, even if you have made pre-reservations on the app, it's good for you to confirm those on embarkation day as well. We had an incident where our reservation was not on the books and we had made it in advance. They did make that right, but she recommended to always reconfirm when you embark. You can also book specialty restaurant reservations while you're on board, even if they're not part of the package. You will just pay the cover charge and gratuity and you can make those reservations on board. O'Sheehan's is open 24/7, and it is great if you have missed your dining time or just need a late night snack, want something simple to eat. And O'Sheehan's is on some of the older ships. The same concept is on some of the newer ships and called the Local. And this is usually my favorite dining spot on NCL ships. However, on the Star, I was not as impressed. The menu was still great, but the service was really lacking. The wait staff did not seem very friendly, and they were very disorganized. Someone would seat you, someone else would take your order. It might be delivered by 2 or 3 different servers and not all at the same time. So sometimes the meal took a long time to happen, which is okay if you're just killing time, but if you have something else you want to do, that's pretty annoying. I don't know if that's specific just to this ship, if it's this class of ship and where the galley's located. Leave a comment below if you have some insight about that. Moving on to laundry. The cruise cabin will have your usual laundry bag and list of charges, much like a hotel would have for send-out laundry. But about midway through the cruise, we received a promo. 1 full bag washed and folded in 48 hours. Directions were on the slip of paper for how to use this service. The laundry bag is about 15 by 22 inches. I placed a copy of the Freestyle Daily, which is letter size, on top of the laundry bag for size reference. I think you could get a lot of items in the bag, but keep in mind it is paper, so stuff it carefully. Next, what about the smoking areas? On this ship, they have a promenade that goes all the way around the ship. It's a great place to walk. And on many ships, there is a smoking area on the promenade, but not on the Star. The Freestyle Daily said smoking is permitted in designated outdoor spaces and in the casino during play. So I went on search of where those designated spaces might be, and I found it at the Sky High Bar. Tables and chairs set up with ashtrays. I did find one little setup on the pool deck, but it was interesting. There were a few tables and chairs, but there was a sign saying it was only open if the Sky High Bar was closed due to high wind. Tindering. This is the process when you are taking one of the small boats over to land, that there's not a dock or not enough dock space for the cruise ships. This is a process that takes a while when you're unloading several people from the ship, but you can only do it about 150 to 200 people at a time. The dilemma comes when you have booked an excursion with a private party and you're needing to get to land to get to that excursion, because the tenders are given priority access to people that book the Norwegian cruise line excursions. So you may have to wait a bit before you're allowed on an excursion boat. My advice is, if you're booking on your own for an excursion, just book it a little later in the day if possible, so that you don't have that stress of trying to get off the ship in time to make it to the land. You will pick up a tender ticket. They will be numbered by groups. When they call that group, then you can go get on the ship by showing your tender ticket. There are also some loyalty perks. Depending on your loyalty level with Norwegian, you may have priority tendering, and if that's the case, all you have to do is show your room key card. That's a nice advantage for people that have loyalty with Norwegian. One of the free at sea perks is the beverage package. You will want to be sure you go to ncl.com and see what the current offerings are in that beverage package. Right now, they do not include water. They do not offer bottled water in their primary beverage package. You can upgrade the beverage package where higher priced drinks are included, and that will also include waters. You can buy water as a water package and they will deliver it to your stateroom. You can also purchase them individually and they will just charge you for each individual one. Norwegian doesn't do bottled water at all. We've been on some ships that have cartons of water and some that have cans. And on the Star, on this itinerary, we had canned water. One of the friends we traveled with said they thought they could taste that metallic taste in the water. I never noticed it. However, there are self-serve water dispensers up in the buffet area. You can get ice and water and get a glass of that, and it is filtered and it is good. I've never had any trouble at all with the drinking water on the ship. I like to fill my cup with ice and water and then transfer it to a cup I can carry around with me on the ship to keep it cold all day. According to the Freestyle Daily, guests are prohibited from also bringing waters and soft drinks, any kind of food and beverages, back on board the ship from land. Be sure you have downloaded the NCL app before you sail. This will help you to be able to look at all of your plans, You can see what's going on the ship, any shore excursions you've bought, the restaurant reservations that you have. But the primary reason is to keep an eye on your account. You'll see on my screenshot of the onboard account on the app that I kind of like to buy specialty coffees at Oceans. I have several specialty coffee charges. My husband has special Coke charges. All of them have a gratuity added on to that bill. Notice one of my charges is a little higher for my coffee one day. That's because in some ports, when you're in port, they are required to charge the local tax for food and drink they sell on board. On day 1, embarkation day, I checked my account and I noticed that I have some onboard credit. Some is non-refundable and some is refundable. This non-refundable onboard credit has to be spent on board. It's a use it or lose it kind of thing. But the refundable onboard credit, you can ask to have it given back in cash at guest services. In fact, if you want it in cash, you have to ask. They don't just automatically give it to you. They recommend that you do it by the last full day of the cruise before debarkation day. This refundable onboard credit could be a refund of taxes and port fees, maybe for an itinerary change. On ours, we were told it was an environmental tax that they had charged, but then they no longer had to pay that environmental tax, so it was given back to us. It could be any reason, but the refundable onboard credit and the non-refundable onboard credit can both be used toward any of your onboard expenses. So on day 1, by the time I had both of those credits, some excursions that we had canceled due to an itinerary change and new excursions we had purchased, even with that, I have a credit of over $80 showing on my account that I can use during this cruise for onboard purchases. Finally, let's look at some cabins on this ship. Cabins that I would like and some that I would avoid. So first we're going to start off with deck 5. But let me take a break here and invite you to subscribe to my channel. If you will subscribe, it will put my videos into your feed so that you will see them and you can click on the ones that interest you. If you do notifications, it'll tell you every time I post anything. Thank you so much for doing that. Deck 5 has ocean view and interior cabins. All of these cabins are directly below some public areas, so chances are good you will hear some noise above you, especially these cabins here, which are directly below the casino. These here might be relatively quiet since they're below one of the main dining rooms. This area on deck 6 is the galley, so these rooms might hear kitchen crew at all hours throughout the night. See this area here? Often there would be entertainers or presentations going on here, and this open space on the deck plan is full of seating, sometimes full of people listening to the entertainment or waiting for the restaurant reservations. So the interior cabins directly below here are subject to hearing some noise as well throughout the day and on into the evening. There are passenger cabins on deck 8. The balcony cabins and ocean view cabins are probably going to be fine, but I would specifically avoid the interiors in the aft as they are directly above the Bliss Lounge and may hear the sound system pretty clearly. Early morning for fitness classes, late at night for musical performances, and all day at various other events going on here. And these interior cabins forward will hear anything going on in the theater below. Decks 9 and 10 are my preferred locations on the ship. They are called sandwich decks, as there is nothing above or below you other than another cabin. I might be a little cautious about these in the aft of deck 10 with the spa above them. I'm not sure how much spa noise you might hear above you. Let's look a little closer at those deck 11 cabins. These balcony cabins in the forward are sandwich cabins, so they're great. These interiors on deck 11 are probably fine too. They're below the library and meeting rooms, and while there may be some daytime foot traffic above you, I would not think there would be late night or early morning meetings. I usually try to avoid all cabins on the pool deck. You will hear the tables and chairs and loungers scooting around above you, especially early in the morning when the crew is washing the deck and setting things up for the day. These above the garden cafe might not be bad, but I have heard carts and vacuuming above me in the cabins here. And by all means, avoid these cabins. I cannot imagine being directly below the teen club and especially the video arcade with the constant arcade music. If you plan to use a thermal pass, though, the ideal location would be right here on deck 11 where you're so close. On deck 12, these forward suites and interiors are below additional sun decks, but these sun decks are not usually utilized very much, so the noise above should be minimal. If you're traveling with children who are going to use Splash Academy regularly, booking any cabin in the aft of the ship would be most convenient for taking them to their kids' activities. I hope these hints have been helpful to you. This is Shirley with Shirley's Journeys, and I hope all of your journeys are pleasant ones.